Hello, welcome to my live stream of me trying to figure out how to do oil painting in Photoshop. So I don't really know what I'm doing, but we'll try to figure it out together and you can watch along, or maybe I'll just put you to sleep. But let's take a look at what we started with yesterday. So I'm working on this illustration. Just started out with some pencil. And see if my remote is working. So this is kind of where we're at. I lost my pencil. There it is. So we started with doing some background, and I did some sky. See if I can get rid of that bottom menu. There we go. So on the sky, started with some blue and then painted in some clouds. And I did it in multiple washes until I got the texture I wanted. And I really want to go for kind of an oil quality. So I've got that to some greater or lesser extent. I found that the oil brushes that are in fresco emulate digital painting really well, but that the oil brushes in Photoshop don't. And so there's a lot of manual fooling around to get the oil look. So each kind of brush stroke, each bit of texture, each bit of smudging, which would happen kind of automatically in an emulator, has to be done manually by switching brushes. So it's been a lot more work to fool with this and try to figure it out. I need to add some more highlights in the grass, but I went ahead and switched over to start working on the characters. And I also added this bit of trees, which are hard to see when the pencil drawing is turned on. But the trees really serve primarily as a backdrop for the character. I did want to have some foliage sort of qualities to it, but I didn't want it to be too detailed because I wanted to leave room for them to just kind of melt away into the background and really create more of a feeling than really kind of to be distracting with too much accuracy of foliage. So with kind of the character filled, I can turn this pencil drawing back on, which just makes the trees dark, but that's because the pencil is dark. I'll go ahead and turn this down so it's kind of out of the way. So striking the balance between the really oil kind of quality and just sort of normal digital painting with everything with a soft round brush is the tricky bit. So I experimented with trying to create some oil. I think I have it here labeled as bad oils. Yeah, I do. So, man, that was awful. I was using these same brushes like I used for the sky, and that just didn't work at all. I was really unhappy with how that worked, and that's maybe just my skill set. But I went ahead and kind of reworked that yesterday with just a soft round brush, and we were able to make some progress. What I'd like to do is just kind of get all the tone in, lights and darks. I'm really only painting with one color here. after I kind of get all the lights and darks, then we can add in some more flesh tones, and we can go back with some of the texture brushes for what you're kind of seeing over here in the oils. You know, where you almost see like a little bit of the canvas and the brush strokes. And we can add that back in on top of the character after it's done. One thing that's kind of unique with oil is that you can see shadows. You know, the oil has three-dimensional and it has texture and depth, and you can see that. You can actually see the shadows and the highlights of the paint itself. And you don't really get that, obviously, in Photoshop. Now, if you're using a digital media emulator like Fresco, you do get that, because it preserves that and emulates that. And I'm kind of wondering if we can push that out a little bit with some filters that are in Photoshop, but I don't want to get too digitally and weird. So this might end up with more of a tempera quality than an oil painting quality. But that's alright, we'll figure it out. Now, doing everything with a soft round brush resulted in everything being kind of soft. So I went back in and lined in some hard lines, and some of that worked well and some of that didn't work so well. So that's where we find ourselves. I don't know that I want to do much more on this. I almost feel like I want to sit on it. There's some real problems areas with the nose and the lighting. So we're just going to have to figure it out. I also noticed I ended up with a dark spot on the cheek here, and some of that's affected by the texture of the underdrawing, so you can see that. And I actually like a lot of that texture from the underdrawing. I might keep some of that, keep that underdrawing on to some extent. You know, it really adds a lot to it, I think. But for now, I'm going to leave it on very low so it's not in the way and kind of distracting from what I'm trying to do. We'll go ahead and lock this layer so that we don't inadvertently start painting on it by mistake. I started to experiment with an eyebrow last night too, and while this is, you know, a fine eyebrow, it's not as angry as I want it to be. So before I just paint it over from scratch, I thought I might try a cheat with Liquify. And if you're Command-Shift-X is the finger command for that. And my Liquify panel is opened up over here in a different window. So let's see what I can do here. I'd like you to be able to see what I'm doing, so let's bring it over here where you can see. There we go. So this is really huge at the moment. Let's see. Or not huge enough, I guess. There we go. So Liquify allows me to cheat a little bit. So my brush is huge compared to this painting. Normally you want a large brush, but in this case I just want to tweak down the eye a little bit. Let me cancel this for a second. It's like not applying to the right layer. There it is. Let's make a quick selection. I don't want to affect the other things that are on this layer. There we go. There, much better. There, and that's moving. Just kind of want it to be subtle. Let's see what it looks like. I guess that's not too subtle, but I think the lighting is off is the problem. So when you kind of frown, let's see if I can show you a little better. So when you frown, you get kind of like a shadow in here. And the light isn't coming from the other side, so I'm not sure how much that would catch, but definitely I think there'd be a little bit of a shadow. So let's see if we can make that happen. I got too many screens here. On one hand, I don't want to get too myopic and buried at what I'm doing, but on the other hand, I do want to really focus on this expression. So we've got a couple different layers here. My primary shadow layer, primary highlight layer, now one thing I think I regret is putting this little dot highlight in here, because in reality there would be no dot highlight. The dot highlight that you see typically and stuff is from the photography process and having a point light source. And in this case, there is no point light source. So come down here to this iris layer, which is locked. Oh, it's locked transparency, so I'm not worried about that. Let's see if we can fix this. I don't mind there being a little highlight there, but I don't want it to be that crazy point highlight, because that just wouldn't exist. Now, this bit nonsense right here, this has nothing to do with painting in oils. This is just alright, I think that gives the kind of the look that I want. Now there's a little too much shadow here compared to how much shadow I don't want to paint with this color. A medium color. And then I'm going to paint and multiply, which is Command Option Shift M, or sorry, Option Shift M, no Command. And I'm going to get back on a real low percent, like 10%, 20%. Because there's a real strong highlight. And see, I don't even need to change colors. I'm going to go Option Shift S to screen, and I want to go in Let me look at my brushes here. We'll use this one, just a real basic brush, nothing fancy for right now. I was using all oil brushes out of the Kyle Webster's oil collection, but it isn't really necessary for what I'm doing at the moment. Now see, if there's that much intensity here, then this needs to also be lightened up, and this. See, there's a couple viewers. Thanks for joining me, so I'm not all alone here talking to nobody. This is only my second live stream, so yesterday I was really talking to nobody. But here, I'll start the chat. Hello. You can let me know where you are in the world, what time it is. Can you believe it's been 20 minutes of me talking to thin air for so long? So what we're going to do here, just back on my paintbrush. What's neat about this, kinda, is that it doesn't matter that it's kind of blotchy, you know, because it just adds texture to his nose. I think the trick will be where to stop. So Option Shift R is clear, and it'll allow me to, I want to be on really clear, like 10%. See, I can dial that back. I just blend that in. So what I want, probably, oh, that was weird. Oh wow, my tablet is really glitching. I think I got too many processes going on. So that's too intense. I'm at 40%, and this is not layering on good. 10% feels way too slow, but it allows me to come in at it at a gentle, kind of a gentle line of attack. I guess I don't need to worry about monitoring chat too much because there's nobody hardly here. I think I need to quit some other things. My computer to act a little faster. I meant to do that before I started. quit, 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 quit. Oh gosh, yeah, all kinds of stuff open. Quit, quit. All right, so hopefully it'll be a little less glitchy. I like this shadow here, but I think it's a little bit too intense. So let's take it back a little bit. What I want to do is add some highlight. Turn it up a little bit. Oh, I'm actually in clear mode, so let's go back to screen. So I'm primarily painting in screen mode, and multiply and clear. Clear allows you to paint with the same tool, but off, so to speak. It's like erasing without erasing, without switching to the eraser tool. Trying to decide how I want this light to come in here. I think I like that. There's a lot of light, even though it's kind of a sunset kind of a picture. I think this is a little too dark. Let's go into the shadows here and lighten this. That was something I noticed the other day. And it just seemed a little too dark, so let's go in with clear. Option Shift R. Turn it way down, like 10%, and just pull this back out a little. And I want it to be dark, but I don't want it to be too dark. One thing, too, that really helped yesterday, go back to multiply, was just to line it in. So I did around the eye, and man, that made such a huge difference. So let's see where we want to do that. I think right here. I need to be at a higher percent. So go like crazy and do 80%. It's gonna be like drawing like the crayon. That's intense right there. Kind of like where that's going, but it didn't work. Let me rotate this a little bit so I can get a better angle of attack. That's better. Well, I can't believe how glitchy this is tonight. I did not have this problem yesterday. I think this is where the problem is right here. This should not be connected. So let's go to clear. Whoops, that was color mode, not clear. Oh yeah. Man, what a big difference, huh? I mean, I want that little bit of light coming down off the nose all the way around, but let's rotate this back and see what we got. So much better. So, I don't know, what are some projects you guys have been working on? I never really did fix this eye business. Sometimes when I'm not really sure what's happening, I'll skip around. Does this make a lot of noise in my remote? No, it's not too bad, I guess. Anyway, yeah, I'll skip around. It's weird, I'm at 80% opacity, but I think these highlights, yeah, they are. These highlights are just blocking. That's okay. We'll get there. See, now it's too dark. So, let's see. I want kind of a distinct crease. Yeah. And a distinct highlight. So again, I'm just painting with one color. I'm just switching which the color is. Oh, did I lock this layer? That's weird. There's going to be a distinct crease like that. I'm using my camera as a mirror. There's not going to be a whole lot of light in here though, because this is away from the sun. So I'm not really sure how I want that to be. I almost feel like it's too intense. Not really feeling any of that. We might need to just leave this alone and do in some of the other areas. Oh, you know why this is so messed up? Because I've changed my colors. That's why it's not working. That's totally the problem. So now that I'm back in brown, watch, now I can come in here. Look at that. Yeah, so much more subtle. It had changed into being white for some reason. So you guys gotta point that out in the chat. I really only want to paint with this one color. I don't want to be painting with actual white. If it fades to white, that's fine. There's something wrong about this. Just keep changing blend modes. Generally, I feel like this is better than what we had yesterday. I think I'm going to put in a harsh highlight. A little risky maybe, but I think there's going to be a harsh highlight right here. Yeah, I think there will be. So I just need to come up with a higher percentage brush, and I think I actually want to select it and make it like a really hard edge. So I'm just going to come in with the lasso tool. And I add to this, change the shape a little bit right here. There. Now let's come in with a really harsh, let's feather it just slightly. Oops. Come on. Should be Command Option D for feather. Oh, they changed it. Option F6. So we'll put in like, we'll try 2 for the moment. And you know, we could actually do this on its own layer. I just put the layer on screen. Now look at that, my brush is not picking up. It's a good thing this is on its own layer. Totally glitchy. Still kind of a soft edge. I kind of wanted a harder edge than that. I really want just a rock hard edge right here. Man, I don't know if you can see how glitchy that is. That is just crazy glitchy. That is not normally how this operates. That's totally unacceptable. Now you're probably like, that is awful. It is kind of awful. So let's see how we can make it not awful, because I think it needs it. But how can we make it not awful? That's why I did it on its own level here. I don't know. Where's that spot? It's in the highlights. So let's fix that. That's been bothering me. We're going to go in screen mode and paint that out. And I think I want to clear out some of these other things. I must have painted that there by mistake. Yep, I had my touch brush on. I need to get some of those gloves. It's not usually an issue, but when it is an issue, it's super annoying. I think that's good. I think I'm going to add another couple harsh highlights right here. It's weird. Sometimes my finger commands work. Sometimes they don't. There it goes. I got my keyboard like up here, so it's kind of awkward for using my finger commands anyway. I should probably use some more of the touch commands on the Wacom tablet. That would probably help. I don't know, on one hand, I don't want to get crazy and get in all these details. On the other hand, it's too late. I'm already crazy and in all these details. It's amazing how sometimes the opacity you have does nothing, seemingly, and sometimes the opacity you have just blows everything up out of the water. Looks interesting. Is that I'm literally painting all with the same color and just changing screen and multiply. Oops. I don't feel like there's a whole lot of clarity over here of what's going on this side of his nose, but like it's just like kind of a mysterious anatomy. Oops. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But it's kind of okay because it's going to be in all this shadow over here. So I think it's okay for it to just disappear. Turn up the opacity a little bit because it's not hardly doing anything. I can like practically paint over the whole thing and it doesn't do anything. Also, if you look off these highlights, you can see kind of what's going on under here. So, if I'm in multiply mode and I'm at a higher percentage, you can see now that it'll paint in a little better. So, welcome. Thanks for joining us. If you want to tell us anything about where you're from, feel free. Let's turn the highlights layer back on. I think we kind of need to get this other eye in, this other eyebrow in. So I guess we might as well start working on that. Let's check our streams of things here. Someone says we should do wine. Hello, welcome. Somebody was just saying we should do wine and painting. Maybe we can try that sometime. This is only my second live stream, so we're just making things up as we go along here. What I'm trying to do, since you just joined, is figure out how to emulate oil painting. See if I can zoom out a little bit. So, like this kind of stuff has all the texture, you know. That's what we want to do. Just kind of get this kind of oil quality and blend that off in our portrait here. It's proven a little tricky, and everything's looking a little soft at the moment. So what I'm going to try to do is just get the lights and darks in first, and then go back and add some texture. So right now we're just painting literally with one color, and I'm alternating between screen and clear and multiply to kind of add the tone where I want it to be. I think, yeah. Let's try adding in this other eyebrow. I think I want a little more shadow right in here on his face. It's going to be so dark because the sun is kind of starting to go down. Yeah. There's already some highlights painted in here, and when the highlights are painted in, you can't really go any darker than what the highlights are. So we might have to do these on a separate layer. I kind of want to jump into this hair business because this looks a lot more exciting than fooling around with that eyeball. So we might be able to use some actual oil brushes for this. So I guess you can see. Yeah, here's on a little delay. Here's Kyle Webster's Real Oils. And I flagged a few that I like, just with my initials, because it's really hard to find them otherwise. There's so many. Really, we could try anything and kind of see what happens, because I don't know what it's going to look like. We'll just throw it on a separate layer so it's safe. Oh yeah, I can see this being cool. Some of these brushes will actually pick up the colors that are around it. See, I'm not sure if I like that, but what I do like is that this brush follows me. I've used this before. So it's interesting how little I'm getting on my. I'm gonna have to adjust my flow a little bit. Let's try picking up some of this and see what I get. I don't want a little bit of highlight in here. And then should blend together. Yeah, there we go. And see, it kind of like, it's almost like it gets on your brush, kind of, which is nice. Oh, you know, this is under the highlights layer. Let me move it up. There we go. Now I can kind of see what's happening better. Man, I can't believe how much delay I have right now. It's just unbelievable. I need to move this up even higher. It's just messing with their brain here. There. That's good. Man, you know, I really can't do anything wrong with this. I do want to get... I've been painting basically all with one color and just changing blend mode. I have this button on my stylus set to be eyedropper, so you can't really see it, but I can just really quickly switch back and forth and just kind of pick up color. And that's how I'm going to get in some of this different colors. I want to be careful and not get in this ear, so I'm just going to select this. But that's awful. You know, what's nice about this is that we can just go like this. Can't do this on a real painting. And then let's just select this. Burnt. And I'll zoom back out again. And actually what I want to do is select everything but this, which is Command-Shift-I to inverse the selection. So I've basically protected this, and I hate seeing the dancing ants, so we're going to go Command-H and hide those. So the selection's still there, I just hid it. And that finger command used to be Command-H back when I learned Photoshop many years ago, and they changed it at some point, which I found exasperating. I'm gonna get some of this red. Yeah. And I also want probably just some of the crazy colors. From the sky. Nice. Another thing is that, so my bottom one here, if we can see it, that one's eyedropper, and the top one is undo, so I can just kind of alternate between those two pretty quickly when I get a stroke I don't like. And it's kind of nice to get rid of those strokes you don't like right away, because there's a limited amount of undo. Yeah. Let's come in with something else. Let's see what we get with a different quality brush. Yep. Yep, this would be good with this bright red back here. What I can also do, this is really kind of looking how I want it to look, but I'm going to pull up some black, which I don't normally use black. But the black is going to be, because this oil brush. Let me lasso this guy's head right here. Oh, you know what? I can't lasso because I've already lassoed. So let's show this, and then let's actually subtract out some lasso. So I'm going to subtract out this, so I'm not painting on it by mistake. Alright, now we can hide it again. Remember, that's Command H. And go switch back to the brush tool. That's too dark. That's why I don't like using black. See, each little tap with the brush is one undo. So it's like undo, 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 undo. That's why it's better to not make mistakes in the first place. Actually, I could have just painted over it with a different color. I mean, if this was a real, make sure this is turned off. If this was a real painting, I wouldn't be hitting undo, so. Just gonna keep eyedropping. I'm gonna leave this little highlight right here, like that. Now I probably want to get some highlight in here too, so we can make a highlight layer. And what color do we want to highlight with? That is an excellent question. Since it's on its own layer, we can pretty much do anything. And it won't matter because we turn it back off. I kind of wonder if one of these might give me the look that I want. Let's see. Let's get into a lighter color though. Let's do like an orange. I might have to deselect. So now we have no selection anymore. Let me go ahead and clean up these little mistakes right here. That should be on this layer. Yeah. Boy, the delay is just atrocious tonight. Totally atrocious. There it goes. It looks like it does nothing, but it does. And I actually kind of like what it does. I think I want to make it a little smaller though. I think I might go super brighter. Oh. Yeah, I'm on super delay. That's annoying. I have that on some layer, so I can switch to the out of my brush tool and just plus through this and see what it looks like. I mean, frankly, even that looks cool, but that would be dark, so I was trying to go for lights. See, I'm getting in the color, and I'm doing what shouldn't be. You know what I mean? I should be just focused on. I should be just focused on highlights, lights and darks. Kind of ironic. I would use a clipper brush to fix his hair. Let's zoom out a little and see what that looks like. Yeah, I mean, that works. We're gonna add tone to all this later when I get done with all the darks and lights. So the fact that this is very flat and black and whitey looking will resolve that. I'm not sure I'm feeling his nose though. I guess it's alright. Move that off. I don't know why it's not working. Hello. It's weird. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. There it goes. all night tonight though. It's been super glitchy. Alright, I guess we might as well. The hair is fun, see? And the hair has that oil quality look that I want. So, I mean, that's what we want for the whole thing, ultimately. But we're just taking the safe route. We're coming into it slowly. Coming in, if you ever flew a plane, tried to land. Surprisingly difficult. Or maybe it's not surprisingly difficult. But in any case, it is difficult. And we have to be lined up from a long way away. So that's kind of where we're at with this. Huh, interesting. Oh, that's not what I thought that was. There we go. See, there's texture there. Coming out of the illustration. I think I'd rather have it be in the illustration. So the way that these are nested, they're all grouped and clipped to the underpainting, and the other underpainting kind of limits the style then. I think I want. It's interesting that that ended up on its own layer. I'm not sure I meant for it to. I think I'm going to add a little more texture. That was with the oil brush, so I got to go down and find it again. Who knows which one it was? It was a palette knife. That's why I usually label them when I use them, so that I can find them again. I think it was this one. Yep. So we just eyedropper this a little. Make it a little smaller. Taking a while for it to catch up. I think I'm good with that. All this stuff is like dither, 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 you know? I'm just going to get a normal brush. Although, it looks interesting doing it with an oil brush. That's not what I had in mind at the moment. It really makes me just want to jump into doing more oil stuff and forget all this little tithering around nonsense, but it's almost 9 already. I was going to stop at 9, but I really wanted to work on this eye, so let's see if we can do that. Get these labeled. I intend to do this painterly hair every Wednesday and Thursday. From about 6 to 9. Might do it earlier, might do it later. Might do it on Tuesday too, but mostly it'd be Wednesdays and Thursdays. I really don't like unnamed layers. I normally like to work all on one layer. I kind of think that's necessary. I'm not sure that that is though. And I might go back down to just not having that be so intense, but I think I'm going to keep it. If I change anything, it's going to be the fact that this in here is too intense. All right. And there. I mean, I don't want to like wreck it. But I think that's a little better. I kind of feel like his head is too pointy too. I mean, I guess I'm just totally obsessing I should have finished his other eye tonight, but I think I'm running out of steam. There's his other eye. If I turn off all this stuff, you can see what it looks like. Looks like a hot mess. Let's go ahead and try to do that on this side. I guess that's on this side. Let's get rid of that. There we go. We can reuse some of these. So let's finish this eye. We got a few minutes. Plus I started late. So we can see what we can get done here in a little bit. Let's make the pencil drawing a little brighter so I can see. Kind of hard to tell what's going on. But he's angry. That's what's going on. I'm going to paint with this color. Oops, see, I painted on the wrong layer. I do that all the time, which is why I always lock that layer. Always lock that layer. I almost mentioned it earlier. I always lock this layer so I don't draw on the wrong layer. And I thought crossed my mind. I didn't say anything. And then there I did it. I just can't believe how glitchy my tablet is tonight. I mean, that's one of the reasons I got a nice tablet. So that I wouldn't have glitchiness. It's actually not the tablet's fault. It's all this streaming business. What's going to be hard to tell is if the right shapes and right sized, since I didn't do them at the same time. But that seems right based on the pencil drawing. It's funny, with eyes, just a little bit on or off can really mess up stuff. I'm not sure how I want to proceed here. I think I'm going to go with something soft and big. There. I don't think I want anything too bright over here. Let's turn on some of this other stuff so I can see what's going on. Really interesting. It looks so different. So different. See, that looks awful. So this on this side exists underneath those highlight and shadow layers, and they don't exist under it over here, or they do exist under it, but they just don't look right over here. So we just got a lot more work to do, and his eye looks messed up. And there's not much to go on in the pencil drawing. Pencil drawing is so faint at the moment, and so nondescript. Nondescript. The next layer, but let's see if we can use it as a guide. I think I should probably call it quits though for the night. See, I don't want to get rid of all that. Some of that shadowing. Is valuable. Just I don't think this shadowing is particularly what I want at the moment. I kind of did not a whole lot over here earlier, but what I did do was kind of weird because I was just in the blocking in stage. And I've kind of avoided working over here. It's just kind of catching up to me now and looking like a hot mess. So, I mean, in the broad scheme of things, this thing is going to be tiny, but we're going to make it work. It looks awful. So tonight we spent a whole bunch of time. We worked on the hair. That was probably the most successful endeavor for the evening. Got a real painterly quality for the hair, so I was happy with that. That's what we want on all of it when we're done. See, I got some spillover in the ear here from that, and that's why it's nice to have this stuff labeled, because then I can come in, switch over to the clear brush, and just get rid of this. I don't want that. I might add some texture and stuff later, like spilling around for fun, but at the moment I don't want that in there. And the face, man, we fooled around a lot with the face tonight. It's really the most important character here and the most important element here, so it's worth fooling with. I really want there to be an intensity and an anger there, and you know, he just beat up this other guy, right? But this other guy, his face isn't going to be as visible. He's almost like secondary. So, you know, all this other stuff, you know, the clothes, the ground, that can all be really painterly. And, but this one character has to really be intense. So it's worth fooling around with. It's just taking a lot longer than I was expecting. I really love the pencil drawing. And I just hope that we can capture the quality of the pencil drawing. I'm so tempted to leave pencil drawing on in some greater or lesser extent. I mean, there's just so much expression and personality there in that pencil drawing. But we'll get it. We'll get it. Let's go ahead and save. And did I hit save? Yeah, it's saving. And then go back to this. So I'm hoping to do this, like I said, every Wednesday and Thursday from like 6 to 9 Central Time. And we'll continue to make progress, continue to try to figure out how to do oil painting in fresco. Done lots of oil painting and digital oil painting in fresco with the digital media emulators. Those look good. But trying to figure that out in Photoshop is a little bit different of a beast. And this is, yeah, kind of a complicated scene. Lots of characters, 2 characters, so we'll get it to work. We'll figure it out. So if you want to come join me again next week, maybe Tuesday, but most likely Wednesday and Thursday. Alrighty, have a good night.